Welcome guys to Buy versus Trade, and yeah, on this video I want to talk about an interesting topic, which is so yesterday, I think it was yesterday, so basically UK's GDP stats for October came out, and it shrank as expected. I think fourth consecutive monthly shrinkage. So UK's GDP contracted for the fourth consecutive month and it contracted by around 0.1%. So the GDP decreased by 0.1%, something like that. And here to tell you that the actual GDP has dropped much further than 0.1% in UK. Look, you guys can go back to my previous videos. I made multiple videos on UK, how it's declining. So if you look at the GDP numbers of UK that came out recently for October, the sectors where the GDP went down are manufacturing, textiles, any sort of resource extraction. So anything related to physical products being produced, the GDP went down. Where the GDP increased? Services, legal service, financial service, insurance service. Those are not real products. Okay. Financial service, legal service, these are not real products. So when people think about GDP, gross domestic production, if your country's actual goods, physical goods manufacturing is going down, but the legal service GDP is rising, the financial insurance service sectors are rising GDP. What happens in times of war? When there's a war going on around the world, no one cares about the legal service. No one cares about the financial insurance stuff. Okay, what will matter is your physical manufacturing capacity. So if you're trying to measure the economic strength, if you're trying to measure the strength of a country, then you have to measure its manufacturing strength, physical products manufacturing capacity. In that, if you want to just take that into account, UK GDP has fallen by, I would say close to double digits in the last 1 year. If you just focus on manufacturing physical products, then UK's GDP has fallen much further than what they're saying, 0.1%. And the reason I believe that you shouldn't consider financial services, legal services, is because, like I said, we're heading into a world where there's going to be a war, there's going to be global conflicts, disruptions are coming. Okay, and when disruptions come, who are the ones that are going to get hit? The financial industry, okay? Because there's going to be a lot of sanctions and there'll be less. The financial service industry in UK works by using its influence and access around the world. When there's a war, that access will be diminished significantly. The insurance industry will get hit by all the ships getting bombed right in the Red Sea and all that. The legal service industry will grind to a halt because no one's going to sue people when their physical lives are in danger. No one cares about petty problems like suing people, going to court, when they're actually in risk of getting bombed by another country. So I think that the actual GDP shrinkage of UK is much further than what they're saying, 0.1%, because of, like I said, the manufacturing decline is where UK GDP has been falling. And also you have to take into account that GDP is measured in terms of US dollars. That's, I think, one thing people don't understand when they talk about GDP. When you measure something against a currency that's fluctuating, that's increasing in value, so increasing in circulation volume. So it's very simple idea. Let's say you have $100 worth of products, 100 US dollar worth of products being produced in a country. Now, let's say USA prints $100 new money. So now there's $200 in circulation, but there's still $100 worth of products in the country. But all of a sudden your GDP is now $200 because that $100 worth of products is now valued at $200. So that's what people are, you have to understand, even after all this financial gaming, after printing all this money, the GDP is shrinking in countries like UK in terms of US dollars. That is not a sign of a great nation. And now obviously all the US dollar that's been printed doesn't go into UK. I understand that, but most of the newly printed US dollar usually ends up in USA and the other G7 countries, right? The Western countries. And so the point I'm trying to make is the reason the Western countries' GDP have been stagnating, the fact that they're stagnating is a remarkable achievement. I thought they would decline by minus 20, 30% in the last few years because they haven't producing any goods and their production rate hasn't increased at all significantly in the last few years. So the fact that it's still stagnating is simply because of this financial gimmick where they print new money into the economy. And so the same products are now worth more because there's more money chasing those same products. And all of a sudden your GDP looks nice on paper. But even after that financial gimmick, your GDP is not increasing by significant number. It tells you that there's significant underlying issues. And your actual GDP, if it's not measured in US dollars, would be shown to have a significant decline in the last few years. And yeah, so I think when you're measuring GDP against a currency that's increasing in volume, in circulation volume significantly, you have to be careful. Okay, you have to be careful and not get carried away by the truth, which is that your country's production base is not increasing, but the money chasing those production is increasing. And so on paper, your GDP looks good, but people on the streets know that life is not improving. Okay, it's getting worse. So yeah, UK is actually in a much worse situation than what the numbers show on paper. And when there's war, the truth will come out. When the BRICS currencies completely shift away and this printing money of the reserve currency of US dollar stops, the truth will come out. And when it comes out, it'll come out in a very fast, aggressive, and hard manner. It's not going to be a slow decline because of all this financial gimmick that they've been pulling. When the truth comes out, it's going to lead to a steep decline at a fast pace, and you don't even have the opportunity to take your money out. So, yeah, that's my take on that. I'll see you guys in another video.